All right, here we are, guys, back for another tutorial here. And this is going to be the Cliffs hole, hole number 1 here. And the way that this used to play on the old style was a little bit different than what I've seen it play. It's been a little bit less. I used to play this plus 30%, and my bounce is usually kind of towards the top half of this fairway in this shadow. I usually try to make the second hop very close to the fringe edge. Hopefully onto the green, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, but it does need to kind of miss the fairway. So fringe or green is going to be best for that shot. And let's talk a little bit about priorities here. So sniper, 7-ish minimum. And that's, I'd prefer to have an 8, but I can get away with a 7 because I can use the backstop. Alternatively, we're going to go Guardian next. It's readily available, Guardian 2. And then we'll go Hammerhead. You can't use a 1, it's got to be a 4. It's got to be a 4, but you can use a cat 1. So you're susceptible to losing to any cat on this shot. So never think, that you have something in the bag just because, somebody might not have accuracy. If they hit perfect ball, they can still pull off the exact same shot as you. So let's take a look here. And here's our little win guide. And what I'll usually do for this is, the way that I play this varies a little bit. I haven't played this enough since the new update, but let's just kind of go over kind of the base case. Sidewind, I'll usually use right around 4. In fact, let's leave some room for error because it doesn't have to be 4. You can just kind of change your land zone just a little bit. We'll start at 3.75, which allows us to go to 4 because the 4 is still okay. But I like to crank this up to 4.5 if possible. And Sniper 7 doesn't have that capability, but Sniper 8 does. And the rest of these all do. You can always get 4.5 on the rest of the 3. However, you don't technically need 4.5. As I mentioned, you could just kind of cheat this landing zone back, especially on a tailwind. And since there's the backstop, it can just roll back down the hill even with 4. So it's not technically mandatory. However, these cases are very, very, very challenging. So usually, it's a very considerable drop-off that I use for my spin. So in these two cases, we're probably looking at maybe like 2.5. And this is one of the biggest, places that guys usually mess up. So in this case, maybe I'll use 1. Maybe, depending on how, maybe 1.0 to 1.5, depending on how strong it is, on whether or not I can even, do it. And it's probably going to require some overpower on this case as well. You probably have to get your aimer on this side to play the wind more than likely. So it's a very, very challenging shot to even pull off. Most guys hit it out of bounds. So which wants to actually, bring me to my next point, which is kind of an alternate shot for these cases. So I'm going to bring in a second case here. So case number 2, because ideally, QB 8, for example, if I was playing this tour with QB 8, it's going to make things a little bit challenging. Alternatively, we can use a rock driver. Both of these are going to be about equal, but rock's probably going to be a little bit more favorable, just because you're going to have a little bit more length. So I could probably, swap these. But alternatively, any Thor 3 or higher. So this is probably the case that we're going to be talking here is the Thor 3 case, because the odds of you using those top clubs in Tour 10 are going to be relatively low. because you're going to really kind of blindside yourself with the new Tour 10 that they have. It's going to be a little bit harder to complete. You can still do it. You can get away with, especially if you have a Rock 8. You can definitely roll with Rock 8. But it's really going to kind of test your abilities a little bit in terms of off the tee. You'll have to play more position shots and just try to, make sure that you can try to get to as many shootouts as possible. But the strategy here is to kind of lean this up a little bit closer to the edge, and then with the backspin, kind of crank it up a little bit. So you can see what I have on these. I'll usually use about 5.5 as my base case for this wind. Actually, I can't use it on the side wind. I have that in the wrong spot. So I usually use about 5.5 on these angled wind, and if it's straight in the face, I might use 5. So these are the only 3 cases you can use it, would be a headwind. And the goal of this one is actually pretty simple. It's pretty easy. So if I was to set up right here, I can put the bullseye. I can just put it to this side right here on the fairway. Once I do this, I can just assume that I've already adjusted 9 miles per hour just by putting it in that. So if they give me a wind that's this, and it's, say, 11.0, I only need to adjust from this point 2 miles per hour, which you'll just use your max ring adjustment. I just used max, whatever that is. So if Thor's hammer is 1.7, then I'll only go 1.5 extra ring this way. And that's it. That's the only adjustment that I'll need to make. Other than that, I'll just need to play wind effect, make sure that I can, kind of hit perfect ball, and it will just basically go right at the hole. It'll be very straightforward. You'll just need these backspin numbers. In that case, it's a very, very easy shot. This is actually easier than this other shot's going to be, because this other wood case is going to require a lot of overpower. Probably, at least probably quarter overpower on a sniper, in addition to only having like 1 backspin. So it's going to be a very, very challenging shot with that headwind case. I strongly consider, rolling with Thor hammer even at a entry-level club, because it'll, not blindside yourself on this shootout just in case you get the very hardest. And if you pull this off with, Thor 3, for instance, in a headwind, it's pretty much a guaranteed win for you. Not enough guys know how to hit that shot that, there's pretty much a 95% chance that you're going to win if you pull this off. Like I said, the critical value is 9 miles per hour. You just put the bullseye right here, and then as long as it's higher than 9, you're good. It starts to get a little, hairy if the wind's down around 7 or 8, because you'll have to kind of short hit it a little bit, but you can still do it. And, you can see with the backspin right around 5.5, that's all you're going to need. As that wind grows, you can back off. This could technically get down to 4.5 if you had, say, a 16 mile per hour wind. It's just going to really just kind of be dependent upon how strong your wind gets. So, but that's more or less going to be your shot. Aside from that, let's talk some ring adjustments. I already covered the driver case for you. I'll just play. The only thing that I'll need to talk about is the alternative case, which is this case for the sniper shot. So with the side wind, I've noticed that it's playing a little bit different. I usually offset just slightly, and then I'll play max plus 10 to 15. The like 2 or 3 times that I've played this since the update, it's been very, very few. I've had good success on this, and I think I had a side wind and maybe just a little bit of a tailwind case. And it's been working relatively favorable. And it should be, very similar for the tailwind case. No real change here. Plus 10, 15%, give or take. And just crank that backspin up a little bit for that tailwind case. And for the headwind case, like I said, might even require some OP, because you really need to get that target to the other side here. And the only way that you can do that is with overpower. So it's going to pretty much be like max plus 50%. It's going to be, significant. ring adjustment. So hopefully that helps you guys with this hole, and do feel free to check out. I have at least one driver shot. I think I might have done it with Apocalypse 7, but it really doesn't matter whether it's Apoc 7, Thor 3, Rock. As long as you have 5 backspin, that's all you need. And the shot plays the same no matter what the club is. So good luck with that one, and catch you guys on the next one.